What is going on, YouTube? So coming back today with pretty much my final NBA draft recap video. So today I wanted to go through and kind of list out every single thing that I wanted to list out about the NBA draft before I just kind of wrap up everything that I'm going to talk about for 2016 with it. So I'm going to go through three parts in this video. The first one's going to be the three teams that I think changed the most through the NBA draft, 10 biggest steals, and then the 10 biggest reaches. So go ahead and start with and I'm going to put all my lists in the description below like I normally do. So go on ahead with my most changed teams. First one is the Boston Celtics. And regardless if you think the good was change or whether the change was good or bad, anyway, they changed a lot. This is a team that drafted, how many picks they have in the first round? Three or four? Let's see, 3 first-round picks. I believe 8 picks altogether, including the most notable one, the Jaylen Brown pick. The second team that I think changed the most, and this one was for the positive, is the Philadelphia 76ers. They were able to land Timothy Luwawu, Furkan Korkmaz, and Ben Simmons. Luwawu and Korkmaz, two guys that can play at the 2 and the 3, which I said they needed to pick up some guys that can play in the backcourt, and they picked up 2 guys that can do that. And then they got maybe the best player in the draft with Ben Simmons. So good job there to the 76ers. Phoenix Suns, I think they changed very much for the better, especially in the front court. They were able to snag Marquise Chris and Dragan Bender. They were able to get both. 2 very different players, but at the same time, 2 very valuable players to their franchise. So, my 10 biggest steals. First one. Now, the list obviously varies depending on your opinion, but I think this is a pretty good list. First one, Jamal Murray to the Denver Nuggets at 7 overall. I didn't think Jamal Murray was even going to make it out of the top 5, so way to go Denver Nuggets. 2, Deyonta Davis, who I believe went 31st overall, maybe 32nd. Yes, 31st overall to the Memphis Grizzlies. Memphis Grizzlies, also another team that had a very, very good draft, that had 2 guys that could have very easily been drafted in the lottery between Deyonta Davis and Wade Baldwin. 3, Dejounte Murray. Again, went at 29, one of the biggest steals of the draft. Big ups to the Spurs for getting him. Could be a very good player in the league in about 2 or 3 years. Number 4, Cheick Diallo, a guy who I thought was going to be a mid to late first-round pick, ended up going at number 33. Drafted by the Clippers, went to the Pelicans, so the Pelicans add some much-needed front-court depth, an athletic guy that can play next to Anthony Davis. Number 5, Demetrius Jackson, Boston Celtics, one of their picks they actually did very well with. They got a lot of players similar to Demetrius Jackson in their backcourt, but anyway, they added a very good value pick at 45, a guy that could have easily gone in the first round. Number 6, Steven Zimmerman, went, I believe, at number 40 to the... Who did he go to? 41 to the Orlando Magic. They get rid of Domantas Sabonis. They bring in Steven Zimmerman, and now they got Serge Ibaka too, and now they got a lot of depth in the front court. To be honest, they get rid of Oladipo. I still think the Thunder won that trade, but they get Steven Zimmerman to add to a front court with Nikola Vucevic and then Serge Ibaka. This will be a very good front court now. So at number 7, I got Furkan Korkmaz. Went at number 27? Yeah, 26 to the Philadelphia 76ers, a guy that I expected to go in the lottery. Number 8, I got Skal Labissiere. Went number 28 to the Sacramento Kings. They're one of their 2 picks that I actually applauded. Number 9, Henry Ellenson, went at number 18 to the Detroit Pistons. So they add some front court depth, the guy that can stretch the floor right next to Andre Drummond, a pick that I had talked about before in one of my mock drafts, and a pick that I actually really liked. And then number 10, Diamond Stone, a guy, one of the best back-to-the-basket scorers in this draft, has a very well-developed post game, and was, in my mind, deserving of a first-round pick, ended up going to the Clippers. So they add another guy that can play in the post behind DeAndre Jordan. Now, the 10 biggest reaches in the draft. The first one is more than obvious in my mind. A guy that I didn't even have drafted in most of my mock drafts went number, I believe, 13 overall to the Sacramento Kings. Yeah. Georgios Papagiannis. I'm not going to say too much about it. You've already got maybe probably the best center in the NBA already in DeMarcus Cousins. You don't need to add another center, especially not at that pick when you could have bolstered your backcourt. It was an abysmal pick. Number 2, Juan Hernangomez to the Denver Nuggets. I think Hernangomez is actually a decent player, but I don't think he should have been drafted until like the late first round, early second. Drafted at number 15 to the Denver Nuggets. Number 3, Jaylen Brown to the Boston Celtics. Was not pick number 3 overall. I like Jaylen Brown. I like what he does. I don't like the fit. Completely opposite of what the Boston Celtics needed in a wing player. Number 4, Guerschon Yabusele. Went number 16 to the Boston Celtics. Again, very similar to Hernangomez, a guy that I think still has potential in the NBA, but should have been a late first, or early to mid second round pick. Number 5, Thon Maker, who knows what age he is, and then one of the most underdeveloped players in this draft. Granted, very, very high ceiling, but again, that's really all he has right now. All right, number 6, Ante Zizic. Went at number 23 to the Boston Celtics. Notice a pattern here with the Celtics. I like Zizic. I like Vika Zubac. And I like Zhou Qi. I like all 3 of them, but Zizic was a little bit of a reach at that point, considering they had already drafted another international big man. Number 7, Taurean Prince. I like Taurean Prince, but especially with the Hawks, they did need a shooting guard, and they kind of went out and got that, and they still were able to get DeAndre Bembry. So I didn't really understand the pick. I think Bembry's an honestly better player than Taurean Prince straight up anyway. Number 8, Rade Zagorac. Again, an okay player, but I didn't even have him drafted in most of my mock drafts, and like I said, having him picked early second when there were still guys like Demetrius Jackson, like Diamond Stone, like Steven Zimmerman on the board, look somewhere else. Number 9, David Michineau. Again, very similar to Zagorac. I just didn't have him drafted. I don't think I don't even know if he'll make a roster in the NBA. And then number 10, again, very similar to Yabusele and Hernangomez, Pascal Siakam. I think a solid player, went number 27 to the Toronto Raptors, but I still think the Raptors could have found better at 27. I think Siakam should have been a mid-second round pick. So that pretty much does it for listing out everything individually. I just wanted to give a few final thoughts. I already did like a draft recap video sort of thing, just kind of talking about my big opinions of the draft. But a few things I wanted to wrap it up with. I will be coming back later this week to do a video of my top 10, or just my power rankings, my NBA power rankings post-NBA draft, kind of like what I did with the NFL draft. And then I might do something regarding the NBA draft in 2017, but with the one and done, it's kind of hard to. It's not like the NFL where you can just go in and, make a mock draft just straight up after the draft's already over. A few other things. A couple teams that I think ended up better, maybe not out of the draft, but just because of the draft, because of trades in the draft, things like that. One, the Oklahoma City Thunder. I think they won that trade with the Magic big time. They bring in Sabonis to play alongside Enes Kanter and Steven Adams. They bring in Victor Oladipo, which immediately bolsters their backcourt, and then Ersan Ilyasova, who can pretty much take that spot that Kyle Singler was very mediocre in the last year and a half. Another team that I think won big during the draft, the Indiana Pacers. You added Thaddeus Young for, I don't think Karis LeVert's going to be a bad player. The Brooklyn Nets, I think, actually got a good value out of that draft. But adding Thad Young to a starting lineup that was already pretty good is it's awesome. And then adding Jeff Teague for George Hill. George Hill was good, but Jeff Teague is a lot better. Trying to think if there's any other team. I already mentioned the most changed teams, so I'm not going to really mention too much there. The Chicago Bulls, one of the most shaken up teams in this draft. And then just in and around it, Derrick Rose is gone. Pau Gasol opted out today. You bring in Denzel Valentine, and then and then they're shopping Taj Gibson, so the front court's going to look a lot different. Bobby Portis looks like the only sure thing right now. But yeah, that pretty much does it for this video. Like I said, just wanted to wrap up the NBA draft, give an official recap, like some structure that I really hadn't done before in my other recap. But yeah, that's pretty much it. So yeah.